What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Storytime with Silvia. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're enjoying this series, please hit like and share with someone you think can relate. And if this is your first time listening to one of my stories, make sure you go back and check out the ones I've posted in the past. Most of my stories are of my first generation Mexican American upbringing, time with my abuelos, personal experiences, and so much more. Enough of the chit chat. Let's get to the story. This story is called Piano Lessons. Many, many years ago, in the small town of Hermosa Beach, California, lived a little brown girl. She had a father who loved the arts and dreamt of being a cultured gentleman de la sociedad. But due to his lack of resources, he let his dream go. And in time, he decided to live his dreams through his kids. Dum dum dum! Was that a good thing? Pues quién sabe. Pero ahí les va la historia. I don't really remember when it all started, but my dad has always told the story. One day, on a spring Sunday afternoon, he was sitting by his window watching the birds swinging from branch to branch, and the butterflies fluttering around the colorful flowers and the dogs sniffing their... You Are So Beautiful to Me by Joe Cocker was playing in his old record player.
You are so beautiful to me.
Then he heard the piano playing in stereo surround sound. He slowly turned to his left, and out of his peripheral vision, he could see me sitting on a toy piano he had bought me. I was playing the song along with Joe Cocker as he sang along. Mind you, I was like 3, and at that moment, he knew I was destined to play the piano. I don't know how he found a piano teacher, but I remember her clearly. She was a super proper gringa with a little bob who lived in a very nice part of town. We had to drive about 30 minutes for a half-hour session once a week. We kept a little notebook in which she wrote down what I had to work on for the week. In it, I kept a log of how much time I spent practicing a day. First few months of piano lessons were so frustrating. I didn't have anyone to help me or even guide me. Our musical ability at the house went as far as my dad making us sing Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, which I now know is called solfege because musicianship really does run through our family now. He would make us harmonize for fun because that is what he had been taught in school, except we would do it for fun on road trips through Palos Verdes as he dreamt of one day owning a house on a cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean where I would be playing the piano while my dad sat by the window, just watching the waves crash over the rocks. Little did he know that his dream would never come true. Why? Because I quickly learned how to lie about my practice time. I would hardly take the time to practice. I would just jot down fake practice times. My teacher would look at our notebook and I could see her face light up with joy but slowly fade away when I would begin to play. I did feel embarrassed and quickly wanted to quit, but my dad did not let me. There were only 2 occasions that I would practice for. If there was going to be a recital, I would begin to practice a few days before to get by. The second occasion I would practice was a fuerzas and the worst kind. Let me preface the following by saying that I was the biggest introvert. Maybe I was shy and... okay, who am I fooling? I just didn't like people, and in this case, adults. I dreaded the day my dad's friends would come over. As soon as I heard the doorbell ring, I would run to my room. I knew what would happen after everyone settled in. Silvia! I would pretend I didn't hear. Then it would become a little louder. Silvia! Si, papi? Standing there with my crazy wild bangs, mix-matched long socks, hands gripped together, looking up with big eyes.
¿Ya les conté que Silvia toca el piano?
No, a ver, que se toque algo. Internally, I would roll my eyes at my dad's friends, but I would smile and walk slowly to my piano bench. I would open up the piano's lid, flip through my piano book to find a song I knew I had spent a little time practicing. At that point, I regretted not to have practiced at least a little bit. There I was, all eyes on me. And I could feel them at the back of my neck. I would place my hands over the piano, turn around and smile like Nacho Libre, turn back around, swallow my spit, and begin. When I would finish, my dad would start clapping super loud. And his friends followed. Otra, otra. I don't know if God was watching out for me or if my siblings purposely would save me. My brother or sister would start making a ruckus in the background and I would just take off. Gracias, gracias. Goodbye, goodbye. It didn't always work, but I was happy when it did. I despised those times. I didn't like taking lessons. I hated playing in front of people and only wanted to play for myself. I did take enough lessons to learn how to read music and even sight seed pretty good if I do say so myself. But I soon quit. It wasn't until college that I picked it back up again. Something triggered in me and I enjoyed hitting those keys, playing different chord combinations. Oh, it felt good. It felt right. I bought myself a piano for my small apartment and it was delivered to the second floor. And I would play by myself when I needed to de-stress. A few years later, I started to attend a church and eventually started playing for them. So I guess all those years, God was preparing me for this. I love playing every week for the congregation and not just in a room all by myself. Although I didn't really master the craft, nor come to be a good pianist, I can play enough to add to the team. That was Piano Lessons, story time with Silvia. Were you ever forced to play an instrument when you were young and then grew to love it as an adult? Let me know below what it was and when you play it now. I would love to know. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you, you'll hear me in the next one.